Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Napoleon Hill, and I have one question for you. Have you ever truly lived a day, or have you merely survived it? Because most people, my friend, are not living. They are existing, breathing, yes, but only enough to endure. Smiling, yes, but only enough to hide the ache inside. They call it life, but it is a quiet surrender. And yet, life, real life, was never meant to be endured. It was meant to be experienced with joy, with gratitude, with power, every single day. So let me speak a truth that will shake the foundations of your understanding. Happiness is not given to you by life. It is created by you through the mastery of mind. You have been taught to believe that happiness depends on circumstance, on people, possessions, approval, or praise. But that is the first great illusion, because happiness that depends on conditions will always vanish when those conditions change. And they will always change. True happiness, the kind that burns steady in the darkest night, is born only from within. It is an inner decision, an act of creation, a conscious declaration of independence from everything external. Let me tell you the truth that few dare to hear. You do not become happy when life gets easier. You become happy when your mind gets stronger. The world you live in is neutral. It has no power to bless or to curse you until you interpret it. And your interpretation, your perception, your thought, that is your creation. Change your mind and you change your mood. Change your mood and you change your world. Happiness begins not in events, but in awareness. It is born the moment you stop chasing something outside yourself and start nurturing what already lives within you. The reason most people never find happiness is simple. They are looking for it in places it cannot live. They look for it in the next achievement, the next relationship, the next possession. But happiness is never found in arrival. It lives in alignment. It is not something to be reached. It is something to be realized. And that realization begins with one sacred decision. The decision to stop waiting for life to make you happy and start making life happy because of who you are. You see, happiness is not a reward. It is a reflection. It mirrors back to you the state of your inner world. When your thoughts are in harmony with truth, happiness appears naturally, effortlessly, like the sunrise after night. When you hold thoughts of gratitude, appreciation, purpose, and love, your soul expands, and the outer world becomes brighter, lighter, more alive. But when you cling to resentment, comparison, or fear, you shrink, and life shrinks with you. Because life does not happen to you, it happens through you. Let me offer you a challenge. Stop asking, "What do I need to be happy?" And start asking, "What do I need to release to remain at peace?" Because your unhappiness rarely comes from what you lack. It comes from what you cling to. You cling to expectations that others should act a certain way. You cling to the belief that your worth depends on success. You cling to the past that should have been different. And in all that clinging, you forget the truth. Nothing steals happiness faster than the need to control what cannot be controlled. The happiest souls are not the ones with perfect lives. They are the ones who have made peace with imperfection. They have surrendered the illusion of control and learned to dance with uncertainty. They have learned to say, "This moment is enough. I am enough." And that, my friend, is freedom. If you truly wish to be happy every day, then you must learn to separate your state from your circumstance. Circumstance is external. It changes like the wind. But your state, your emotional posture, that is internal. And it can remain steady even as storms rage around you. That steadiness comes from one practice: gratitude. Gratitude is the spiritual alchemy that turns ordinary moments into miracles. It shifts your attention from what is missing to what is magnificent. It reminds you that every breath is a gift, every sunrise a new beginning, every challenge a teacher. You cannot be grateful and miserable at the same time. They cannot coexist. So if you wish to be happy, practice gratitude until it becomes your default language of thought. But gratitude alone is not enough. You must pair it with presence. Because no one has ever been unhappy in the present moment, only in their thoughts about it. Think about it. All suffering is a memory or a projection, something gone or something imagined. But this moment right here, right now, is pure, it is neutral, it simply is. And the one who learns to live fully in this moment, without dragging yesterday's pain or tomorrow's fear, that one finds a happiness the world cannot touch. I have met men who owned everything, wealth, fame, admiration, yet lived in silent despair. And I have met others with nothing but a small room and a strong mind, who radiated peace wherever they went. The difference was not in their perceptions, but in their perception. The first man lived for happiness. The second man lived from happiness. Do you see? Happiness is not a pursuit. It is a practice. It is the daily discipline of choosing higher thoughts, of aligning with truth instead of illusion, of deciding that joy is not a reaction, but a responsibility. If you wake each morning and say, "Today I choose joy," not because everything is perfect, but because I will not let imperfection dictate my peace, you become untouchable. You walk into the same world as everyone else, but you experience a different reality, because happiness is not found in what you face. It is found in how you face it. Your happiness is your weapon, your protest against despair, your declaration of independence from external chaos. The greatest shift you will ever make is this: to stop chasing happiness as a feeling and start embodying it as a state of being. A feeling is fleeting, it rises and falls with emotion. But a state of being is stable, it is grounded in understanding. You may not always feel happy, that is human, but you can always be happy. Because being happy is not about excitement. It is about equilibrium. It is the quiet knowing that all is well, even when the mind cannot see how. So when life challenges you, and it will, remember your reaction is your creation. When the world grows dark, you do not curse the darkness. You become the light. You do not ask for an easier path. You strengthen your spirit to walk the one before you. You do not wait for happiness to find you. You create it through awareness, through gratitude, through mastery of thought. That is the secret. That is the science of joy. Now, I must warn you, the world will not understand this kind of happiness. They will call you narv, unrealistic, detached. They will not comprehend how you can smile in struggle or stand calm in chaos. But you will know. You will know that your happiness is not ignorance. It is intelligence. It is not denial. It is divine understanding, because you have discovered what few ever will. That happiness is not the result of a perfect life, but the cause of a powerful one. So as we move into the next part of this journey, you will learn how to build this inner happiness as a discipline, how to protect it when life tests you, and how to expand it until it fills every corner of your being. Because happiness, my friend, is not a fleeting emotion, it is a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained, strengthened, mastered. Part 2 will reveal the mechanics, the daily practices, the mindset rituals, the spiritual disciplines that make joy your natural state, no matter what happens around you. Prepare yourself, because once you learn this art, you will never again wait for a reason to smile. You will be the reason. Listen carefully, my friend, for happiness is not a miracle reserved for the lucky. It is a muscle. And like any muscle, it strengthens through training. You cannot wait for joy to arrive. You must condition your mind to create it. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every moment you focus upon, these are the repetitions that shape your emotional state. The undisciplined mind swings like a pendulum between pleasure and pain. It depends on the weather, on the words of others, on the chaos of the day. But the trained mind, the mind that has learned the art of daily joy, remains calm in both sunshine and storm, because true happiness is not the denial of pain. It is the refusal to be defined by it. There is a secret the wise have always known. You do not become happy by having more. You become happy by needing less. The happiest souls are not those who collect the most possessions. They are those who cultivate the fewest attachments. They know that everything external is temporary: money, fame, beauty, praise. They are like passing seasons, wonderful to experience, dangerous to depend on. But joy, real joy, is born from simplicity. It thrives in gratitude, discipline, and devotion to something greater than self. So if you wish to be happy every day, no matter what, begin by simplifying your desires, not by shrinking your dreams, but by releasing your dependence on them for peace. You may pursue greatness, yes. You may chase goals, build empires, conquer worlds, yes. But never forget those are expressions of joy, not the sources of it. When you make peace the foundation and purpose the fuel, every action becomes sacred. Then even the smallest task glows with meaning. There is a moment every morning that determines the tone of your entire day. It is the moment between waking and thinking, the silent second before your mind remembers its problems. That is the birthplace of peace. Most people rush past it. They grab their phones, check their notifications, and hand their focus to the noise of the world. But if you pause, just pause, and fill that space with gratitude, your entire vibration shifts. Say to yourself, I am alive, I am aware, I am blessed, and mean it. Gratitude in the first breath becomes grace in the next 1,000. Because the mind that begins with appreciation becomes immune to agitation. The discipline of daily joy begins in your morning ritual, the sacred structure that sets your emotional rhythm. Before the world speaks to you, speak to yourself. Before the world defines you, remind yourself who you are. Sit in silence, breathe deeply, and anchor your awareness in the present. Repeat truths until they become instincts. I choose peace over panic. I choose gratitude over grievance. I choose presence over pressure. And then, act in alignment with those words. Do not wait to feel motivated. Act, and motivation will follow. Every day you reinforce this, you are training your brain to default to happiness instead of habit, peace instead of panic, response instead of reaction. That is mastery. Now, let me speak plainly. You cannot live a joyful life with a chaotic mind. Happiness demands discipline. Most people think discipline kills joy, but it does the opposite. Discipline protects joy. Because joy is delicate, it cannot survive in clutter, mental, emotional, or physical. It suffocates under procrastination, comparison, and fear. So you must guard your joy as a sacred flame. That means discipline your focus. Do not feed distractions. Discipline your speech. Do not gossip or complain. Discipline your energy. Do not waste it on what you cannot control. Each act of restraint is not a loss, it is liberation. For every no you say to negativity, you say yes to peace. I want you to understand something profound. Happiness is not the absence of problems, it is the mastery of perspective. When pain arrives, and it will, the untrained mind asks, why me? But the disciplined mind asks, what is this teaching me? The first collapses into victimhood. The second expands into wisdom. This is how the wise transform suffering into strength. They do not resist life, they refine it. They do not escape the fire, they use it to purify. So when challenges come, do not curse them, bless them. Say, this too serves my peace. Because happiness is not fragile, it is forged. It is built in the fires of life, tempered by patience, strengthened by perspective. Now, let me tell you something few will dare to believe. You can be happy even in heartbreak, not because you deny your pain, but because you do not allow it to define your story. You can cry and still be grateful. You can hurt and still have hope. You can be disappointed and still be determined, because happiness is not a mood, it is a decision. When you understand this, you will stop waiting for the world to align and start aligning yourself with truth. Here is a truth that must never leave your heart. Your emotional state is your responsibility. No one can make you happy, and no one can truly make you miserable without your participation. Others may trigger emotion, but only you can sustain it. You are the gatekeeper of your mind, the guardian of your peace. If you wish to live happy, you must close the gates to envy, gossip, judgment, and fear. They are thieves of joy. They sneak in quietly, disguised as concern, as truth, as realism. But they poison the soil of peace. Replace them with compassion, curiosity, and forgiveness. Forgive quickly, bless silently, move forward freely. Because the one who forgives fast lives light, and lightness is happiness. Let us speak of the body for a moment. You cannot separate mind from body. They are one instrument. A mind in turmoil poisons the body, and a body in neglect clouds the mind. Happiness demands harmony, so treat your body as the temple that houses your joy. Move daily, not to look perfect, but to feel alive. Eat to nourish, not to numb. Sleep is an act of renewal, not escape. Every act of care is an affirmation. I am worth feeling good. And the one who treats themselves as worthy of wellness becomes a magnet for peace. But perhaps the greatest practice of daily joy is service. When you forget yourself in the act of helping another soul, the boundaries of ego dissolve. You touch the divine. You remember that happiness grows not by taking, but by transmitting. Joy multiplies when shared. Peace deepens when given. Love expands when expressed. So serve not for recognition, but for revelation. Serve because happiness is a current, not a container. It flows through you as you let it flow to others. You may ask, Napoleon, is it truly possible to be happy every day? Yes, but not as the world defines happiness. You will not feel excitement every day. You will not avoid pain every day. But you can live in alignment, awareness, and acceptance every day. And that is deeper than happiness. It is joy. Joy is not a flicker. It is a flame. It burns through sorrow, through doubt, through fear. Because it does not depend on circumstance. It depends on consciousness. Every morning you rise is an opportunity to choose your state. Every evening you rest is a chance to reflect with gratitude. If you do this, day after day without fail, happiness ceases to be something you pursue. It becomes something you embody. Your laughter becomes lighter. Your mind becomes clearer. Your life begins to mirror the peace you've built within. And then, my friend, you will understand why I say, the disciplined mind is the happiest mind. But our journey is not complete. For there is one more truth, the deepest of all, waiting in the next chapter. You will learn how to transform temporary joy into eternal fulfillment. You will learn the secret of purposeful happiness, how to anchor joy so deeply that even loss, failure, or death cannot shake it. Because happiness, when guided by purpose, becomes meaning. And meaning is immortal. Listen to me now, my friend, for we have reached the sacred point in this journey. The place where happiness becomes more than emotion, more than positivity, more than mere pleasure. We are about to uncover the truth that transforms temporary joy into eternal fulfillment. Because until now, you have learned how to find happiness within yourself. You have learned to discipline your mind, to master your focus, to rise above circumstance. But what you must now understand is this happiness without purpose is fragile. It shines bright but burns quickly. Purpose gives joy its roots. It anchors you when the winds of life blow fierce. It gives meaning to pain, direction to struggle, and depth to peace. Purpose is what transforms I am happy for now into I am fulfilled forever. You see, the world has lied to you. It told you happiness is the goal, that if you just chase enough pleasure, accumulate enough success, or collect enough applause, you will finally feel complete. But that illusion has left millions empty, because no amount of pleasure can fill the void left by a lack of purpose. Pleasure fades, excitement fades, comfort fades, but purpose endures. Purpose gives you a reason to rise when you fall. It gives you strength to act when you're tired. It gives you light when the night is long and dark. Let me tell you a truth that will set you free. The purpose of joy is not to feel good. The purpose of joy is to do good. You were not placed on this earth just to be comfortable. You were placed here to contribute. And happiness, real happiness, flows not from what you get, but from what you give. When you align your actions with something greater than yourself, when your joy serves a mission, a cause, a creation, a calling, your life ignites. Because the soul does not thrive on entertainment. It thrives on engagement. It thrives on expression. It thrives on service. Understand, every soul is born with a seed of purpose. It may be buried under years of noise, fear, or conditioning, but it is there. It calls to you in whispers, in moments of stillness, in the things that stir your heart, the injustices that break it, the dreams that never quite die. That is not coincidence. That is calling. And the one who listens, truly listens, begins to live on a higher frequency. They are no longer chasing happiness, they are channeling it. They become a vessel through which life expresses its highest form. Let me speak plainly, purpose does not always feel pleasant. In fact, sometimes it hurts, because purpose demands sacrifice of comfort, of certainty, of ego. But the pain of purpose is the only pain worth feeling. It is the pain that purifies, the pressure that produces diamonds, the discipline that births greatness. You see, people want happiness without responsibility, peace without purpose. But the truth is, responsibility is the path to peace, because nothing brings deeper joy than knowing your life matters, that you are useful to existence itself. When you live for something beyond self, every act becomes holy. Every sunrise becomes an invitation to serve. Every moment becomes meaningful. You might ask, Napoleon, how do I discover my purpose? Do not search for it outside you. It lives within. It is not found in what the world needs. It is found in what makes you come alive. Ask yourself, what awakens my soul? What would I do even if I failed? What brings me peace when I give it away? Because purpose always hides where passion meets contribution. The thing you love doing most, when offered in service to others, becomes your calling. When your passion serves the world, joy becomes unbreakable. Here is another truth: purpose protects happiness from the storms of life. When the world collapses, the purposeless suffer twice, once from the loss itself, and again from the loss of meaning. But the purposeful suffer only once, because even in pain, they find purpose. They know there is wisdom in the wound, strength in the struggle, and beauty in the becoming. They do not ask, why me? They ask, how can this serve? That shift transforms despair into direction. It turns suffering into strength. It converts loss into legacy. Purpose gives pain a reason. And when pain has purpose, it no longer destroys you. It develops you. Think of the greatest souls that ever lived. They were not always happy in the worldly sense. They faced rejection, isolation, hardship. But they carried a joy that no circumstance could extinguish. Why? Because they lived for something larger than themselves. That is the secret of saints, inventors, leaders, and artists alike. They understood that happiness is fleeting when it serves self, but eternal when it serves others. When you live in purpose, happiness becomes your byproduct. You don't chase it. You emit it. You radiate it effortlessly. Even your struggles become sacred. Even your silence becomes fruitful. Even your mistakes become meaningful, because purpose transforms everything it touches. Let me tell you this with absolute certainty. If you wish to be happy every day, no matter what, you must connect your daily actions to something infinite. Wake up not for comfort, but for contribution. Do not ask, what do I want today? Ask, what can I give today? For giving is the heartbeat of joy. Give kindness, give gratitude, give presence, give energy, give forgiveness. The universe always rewards those who give without measure, not with money, but with meaning. And meaning, my friend, is the ultimate happiness. You may say, but what if I fail? Then you will have lived bravely, because the purpose-driven soul does not measure success by outcome, but by alignment. When your actions reflect your truth, you are already victorious. When your heart beats for something beyond ego, you are already at peace. The universe does not demand perfection. It demands participation, and the one who participates fully, with love, courage, and sincerity, cannot lose. So the question now becomes, what will you dedicate your happiness to? What higher cause will you align your joy with? What meaning will you give your moments? Because happiness without meaning is a candle, bright but brief. Happiness with meaning is the sun, steady, endless, and life-giving. But we are not done yet. There is still one more step, the final transformation. For even purpose without peace can become pressure. There are those who serve tirelessly but forget to rest in surrender. They turn their purpose into burden, their joy into duty. So in the final part of this journey, we will explore the highest form of happiness. The happiness that asks for nothing, that depends on nothing, that is everything. It is the happiness of surrender, the art of letting go while remaining fully alive. Because the truest happiness is not in control. It is in communion with the divine rhythm of life. And once you reach that state, my friend, you will not only be happy every day, you will be free. Listen to me now, my friend. We have walked far together. You have awakened to truth. You have disciplined your mind. You have discovered your purpose. And now you stand before the final gateway, the one that separates peace from power, noise from knowing, seeking from serenity. This is the lesson that completes the journey, the one that carries happiness beyond the reach of circumstance. This is the sacred art of surrender. Do not misunderstand me. Surrender is not defeat. It is not weakness nor resignation. It is transcendence. It is the quiet knowing that you do not need to control life to trust it. It is the realization that happiness does not come from forcing outcomes, but from flowing with divine order. Surrender is the final evolution of strength, the power to live without fear, to move without demand, to love without condition, to exist without tension. It is the highest form of wisdom, for it frees you from the heaviest burden a human can carry, the illusion of control. All your striving, all your discipline, all your purpose, they were never meant to make you rigid. They were meant to make you ready, ready to release, ready to rest in alignment with the great intelligence that moves through all things. You see, there is a rhythm to existence. The tides flow and return. The seasons change and repeat. Stars are born and stars collapse only to rise again as light elsewhere. Life moves in divine harmony, and you are a part of that harmony. When you resist it, you suffer. When you trust it, you are free. Surrender is the final doorway to eternal happiness. Because what is unhappiness if not resistance to what is? We suffer not because life is cruel, but because we cling to the way we think it should be. We resist the natural unfolding of reality, and in doing so, we block the flow of peace. But when you let go, when you stop fighting what you cannot control, life begins to carry you instead of crush you. You begin to see that even what once hurt you was preparing you. Even what once left you empty was carving space for grace to enter. Even what seemed like loss was a lesson in disguise. Surrender does not mean giving up your dreams. It means releasing your attachment to how they must unfold. You may plan, yes. You may strive, yes. But when the plan changes, you do not panic. You trust. Because you understand that the universe is not against you. It is educating you. Every delay, every detour, every disappointment is simply a redirection toward alignment. What is meant for you cannot miss you, and what misses you was never meant to stay. That is freedom. When you live in surrender, happiness becomes effortless. You stop chasing. You stop grasping. You stop expecting the world to fulfill you, because you already feel full within. You become content, not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer at war with imperfection. You understand that life is not happening to you or against you. Life is happening through you. You are both the wave and the ocean, the breath and the breather, the dancer and the dance. Let me tell you this truth with all the power of my soul. You cannot suffer when you are in harmony with the present moment. Suffering is born from mental time, from dwelling on the past or fearing the future. But peace lives only in the now. And when you surrender completely to this moment, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but this eternal now, you step into the only place where happiness has ever truly existed. The present moment is your sanctuary. It holds no regret, no anxiety, no noise. It simply is. And when you fully accept what is, your mind becomes still. Your soul smiles quietly, and you remember you were never separate from peace. You only forgot it was always here. Surrender is not the end of desire. It is the refinement of it. When you are surrendered, you still act, but you act from inspiration, not desperation. You still dream, but your dreams flow from love, not lack. You still move, but your movement is effortless, graceful, divine. You no longer chase outcomes, you attract them. You no longer demand control, you embody calm. You no longer strive for perfection, you see perfection in all. That is the miracle of surrender. It turns action into art and life into meditation. Let me share a secret. The happiest people are not those who have everything figured out. They are those who have stopped needing to figure it out. They trust the unfolding. They trust the timing. They trust that the hand that wrote the stars also writes their story. They have learned to let go of when, how, and why, and live fully in now. They laugh more. They love more. They forgive faster. They breathe deeper. They live lighter. And when they face pain, for even the awakened still face pain, they do not sink into despair. They say, "This too is sacred. This too shall pass. This too is part of my becoming." You see, surrender turns every experience, pleasant or painful, into peace. Because you no longer divide the world into good and bad. You see it all as necessary. When rain falls, you bless it. When the sun shines, you bless it. When the night comes, you rest in it. When the storm rises, you trust that the sky will clear. This is not fantasy. This is freedom. When your happiness no longer depends on conditions, you have become invincible. There will come a day when you stop seeking happiness altogether. And that day, ironically, is when you will finally find it. Because happiness is not a pursuit, it is a presence. It is not something to earn, it is something to remember. You are not here to find peace. You are here to remember that you are peace. You are not here to gain joy. You are here to uncover the joy that was buried under fear. You are not here to create happiness. You are here to allow it through surrender. So, my friend, as you walk from this message into your life, carry these truths with you, discipline your mind, and peace will follow. Live with purpose, and joy will deepen. Surrender to life, and happiness will stay. When you live in harmony with these three, discipline, purpose, and surrender, you become untouchable. You move through life not as a beggar of happiness, but as a source of it. Your presence heals. Your energy uplifts. Your silence speaks. You become what you were always meant to be, a living embodiment of peace. And now, let this truth settle into your heart. You will not always be understood, but you will always be guided. You will not always know the path, but you will always be protected. You will not always control the outcome, but you will always have the power to respond with love. That is the essence of surrender. That is the core of eternal happiness. The storms may come, but you will no longer fear them, for you have become the calm within them. You have mastered the mind. You have opened the heart. You have released control. You have become one with life itself. And in that unity there is no pain, no fear, no lack, only love. So now breathe deeply. Smile, not because everything is perfect, but because you are finally at peace with the imperfection. Walk forward, not because the path is clear, but because you trust that each step is guided. Love freely, not because it is safe, but because love is your nature. And live joyfully because happiness is not a destination. It is who you have always been. My final words to you: let go of what you cannot control. Forgive what you cannot forget. Bless what you cannot understand. And watch how life begins to move through you effortlessly. For once you learn to surrender, you will discover that joy is not something you reach. It is something you remember. You are happiness. You are peace. You are love. And now you are free. End of series. How to be happy every day, no matter what, by Napoleon Hill, reimagined voice.